Hello, everyone. This is a short practice on relieving your menstrual cramps and some of your fatigue, hopefully. It's also subtitled Honoring Apana. Apana, according to the yogic worldview, is the force or the wind in our body that moves things down and out. So, defecation, urination, menstruation, birth are all governed by apana, and it's our primary force of eliminating. We live in a society where taking in, learning, absorbing, acquiring, these would all be you know, categorized under Prana Vayu, is very, very highly important. So we're prioritizing the intake and not taking enough time to eliminate. So, as much as maybe the cramps or menstruation can be a little bit burdensome or very burdensome in our society where we want to function linearly, just when you maybe go through your menstruation, taking some time to decompress. We feel, and especially if you live in a city, we're tightly packed due to all the outside influences or stimuli that we have. So just creating a bit of space where you can open some of the space between the cells so the things that you need to eliminate can be eliminated. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, maybe even spiritually. And you don't always have to know what you're eliminating. Sometimes it's unconscious or subconscious, but just creating some that little bit of space. Yeah. And if you resonate with this content, please like and subscribe. And I have a bunch of props. It doesn't have to be proper yoga blocks. If you have a bean bag or some couch cushions, we'll do some supported postures. And also, you can do it in your jammies. You can even do it if you don't have matching socks. So we'll do a lot of things lying down on our belly and our backs. However, we're going to start in just one posture where we create some connection to the soles of the feet. I propose we go into Malasana. That's the squat. And if you want to, you can even do it against the wall and even with a bolster or a little cushion underneath your bum. So that means if you want to do it free in the space, you don't have to have anything. Otherwise, you can come to a wall or if you have a closet or something, you can lean against it, knees wider. If this already feels too tight, you can sit up on even higher or a stool or something. Oh, and then lean. As much as it's nice to see if you can do postures sitting up with your own strength, it's also sometimes really, really nice to invite yourself to lean against things, props, walls. And obviously, I don't have a wall, but a cold window behind me. And maybe your wall is cold too. In which case, you can put a little bit of something between the wall and you so that you feel nice and comfortable. Arms can go anywhere you like. You can also still bring them towards the heart. And for now, we're mostly focusing on the soles of the feet. Now, mostly we walk around in shoes outside, so we rarely have contact between the soles of the feet and the earth, which is one of the primary ways our body energetically also eliminates. And so, even if you're in your apartment or your house, you can just think about really touching whatever's underneath you through the soles of the feet. And also feeling your sits bones, and getting a sense of grounding. And maybe you already feel that your exhales can get a little longer. Maybe your jaw, your throat, tongue can release. And in turn, maybe your pelvic floor can start to soften. Allowing the belly to softly move. through this movement and gentle pulsation, starting to release. Good. Wonderful. And then one more time, just become aware of the soles of the feet. The Apana is deeply connected to the root chakra. And obviously, root chakra runs from the pelvic floor down into the legs. So today, we're going to also take care of the legs and just open up the pathways for elimination. And you can slowly start to maybe wiggle the feet together if you're leaning against the wall. And then however you like, you can slowly come off. And we'll go into probably the queen of restorative postures, Supta Baddha Konasana. You can just lie flat onto your bolster or something that you found at home that you can use that way. If this feels too flat, you can also make a little ramp with your 2 blocks. I like to use it this way and then this way. If you have a meditation cushion, you can also just place a meditation cushion there. Good. And then hopefully I have a relatively sturdy surface. You can do this with or without a strap. I'm just demoing with the strap just in case you want to. Strap is there to hold the feet in place to get even more a sense of holding and the security so you can let go. I have the base of my pelvis or the sacrum against the bolster. And then if you have a loop, make it around. It depends on your size, but I have 50, 60 centimeters in diameter. And you can just step into your belt, and then you can bring the soles of the feet together, and I'm looping it around my ankles. And then I have the strap in a way that the end is coming towards me, so I can just pull it tighter. I hope the sound didn't get crazy, is the other end of the strap is sort of going around my sacrum and then across my groins, and then carefully leaning back. Good. And I can make this a little tighter, in which case this feels even more held and secure. I can also reach the arms up, inhale, and just cactus the arms for a moment so that the shoulder blades can nestle onto their back, and then they can just open the palms up. And then after we've opened the soles of the feet and the pelvis, now we can sort of let the groin soften a little bit more. Feeling the support underneath again. Actually learning to lean into the support. I think also sometimes we forget that we have support. Even if we don't feel support coming through the community or the people around you, which is not ideal. But even if that happens, you still have the earth underneath you. There's always support coming from Mother Earth. And just tapping into that consciously. And that might make the tight packed cells of your body that are so busy absorbing, taking in, soften a little around the edges. So the stuff you don't need anymore can start to seep down through the back body into the floor. And again, breath nice and easy. Allowing your belly to move up and down. Your inhale and exhale respectively. You need to hold or tighten your belly. If it wants to be a little bloated, let it be bloated. It's doing its thing. Any of these postures I'm showing today, you can stay longer if you wish to do so. But for now, we're slowly coming out of this one. If you have the belt, you can sort of go in the opposite direction. Loosen it. Coming out. And then you can just for a moment extend the legs. And again, pelvis is obviously deeply connected to, or the legs are deeply connected to the pelvis and all the muscles around. So we're not just going to open the groins and the inner lines of the legs, but also the front. So we're going to go into Supta Ardha Virasana. And so we're going to bring one heel to the outer bum. I like to always move the calf out of the way so they have a bit more space. You can go both legs at the same time if you're familiar and you want to go into the symmetrical position first. I'm going to show modification. My right knee is bent and the sole of the foot is against the other thigh. This allows for a little bit more uneven pelvis so that the sensation here is not too strong. And then you might just lean back a little bit. If the bolster is there again, you can lean onto the bolster. And for today, if your pelvis is a little bit up, that's fine. If you feel a very strong sensation, you can also put another layer of a blanket on top of the bolster so the angle is not too strong. So as long as you're feeling some space across the front of the hip, you're doing great. And maybe you feel it somewhere else. Just make sure your knee is happy. If it's not happy, you can either skip this one, or again, you can lift up your torso and maybe just lean back slightly. Good. I'm going to show just for those who want to deepen this position slightly, you can always press into the floor, lift the pelvis, and then think about sliding your tailbone towards your knees. And that might open a little bit more. And you can also ground the right foot, which helps you feel the pelvis a little bit more level. Good. We'll stay here for another minute and a half. And maybe breathing all the way across the front of the pelvis into the knee. Opening up the front of the thigh, the groin. So that the pathways for eliminations are also spacious through the front of the body. And if at any point your body says, please sigh, yawn, or any other noise or odd breath, just go along with it. Just the nervous system releasing. Exhale is, of course, also governed by Apana. This eliminating wind or force through the body. Making sure the belly is still soft. And then we'll switch sides for those of you who went into the single-legged variation. I'm going to externally rotate the right leg again. So I'm more in a modified pigeon. And then I can come up through one side. For one moment, again, just extending the legs. Just feeling the openness through the back of the knee. And then we'll go through the other side. This time I'm going to bend the other knee, right knee in my case, heel just to the outside of the bun. So I'm not actually sitting on the heel, it's just to the outside. I'm going to scoot a little bit closer to the bolster. I'll start with the other leg, similar to where we were before, external rotation, and then I'm going to start to come on to the bolster again. Good. Again, this side might feel very different, in which case you might need to come up higher. You can also go down lower like I suggested without any blocks. And if you want to deepen, you can lift up the pelvis and think about sliding the tailbone away. That should make things a little bit more juicy. An option to ground the left foot as a way to feel a bit more even through the pelvis. And then allowing yourself to actually feel this pose as it is. Quality of the sensation. And also sometimes with cramps or pain, distraction can be good. I think there are helpful ways of distracting ourselves, like doing an asana, shifting the sensation maybe from the womb area to the front of the thigh. If you need to watch a movie, something thrilling, exciting to distract yourself, that's fine. Just being aware that the sensations or the pain in the belly are making you want to distract. I think as long as it's a conscious process, it's okay. That's just how the nervous system works. We cannot be aware of too many things at the same time. And there's a yawn. If you feel your breath has become a bit shallow, maybe deepening it for a few more rounds before we come out. Same here. As long as you lean back onto the bolster, it's also another invitation to open through the shoulders, the collarbones, the heart. Good. And then we'll slowly come out. I'll start by opening the knee out to the side so I can roll over from the side. And then we're going to go to Upavishta Konasana. It's a wide-legged forward fold. I'll now give you a bunch of options. So this time we're also getting a bit more into the backs of the legs as well as into the groin. If just sitting upright is hard, you can sit up on a blanket. You can, just like before, lean. So coming towards the wall. If you need the blanket behind you, that's fine. You can sit up on the blanket to lift your seat up slightly, which is helpful if you feel like you're hanging back, you're sitting back on the pelvis, and there's no sense of uplifting or folding, in which case you can sit up on a blanket and just be there, sitting upright, again, leaning. If you want to lean a little bit further forward, you can also, I'm going to sit up on the blanket actually. And yeah, you can make the same sort of ramp that you made for yourself for the back, also for the front body. Oops, the mic flew away. And then, of course, you might need more here. You might need less to lean. And then you can gaze to one side. Maybe you need a little bit more. So I feel like your belly is supported. You can also use your fists as another prop. I might go stay here. Legs 90 degree-ish. If it's slightly more, a little less, not a problem. And you can keep a gentle awareness of the legs. They don't have to be like super awake, but instead of just letting them hang, maybe keeping a bit of this connection through the backs of the legs to the earth. If you are in a position and your body says, well, maybe there's a bit more room, you can, of course, start to fold in. And whenever we have support underneath our belly, It's a little bit easier to breathe into your back. If you're leaning against the wall, it's also a wonderful place to breathe into your back, into the wall or the support behind you. And just giving your sacrum and the lower back, all those nerves that come of those lower back vertebrae, the lumbar spine, innervating the womb, the lower organ, abdominal organs. And so just gently massaging that area through the breath. You can, of course, give some feedback through the hands. Again, just to untangle the tightness in the fascia that we accumulate from sitting longer periods, from being stressed, and dehydration. If you want to switch head, you can switch head over to the other side. And again, this time you can lean into the bolster in front of you. And always checking what you can let go of, what you need to be aware of. And then grounding through the legs, pelvis. Good. And for today, we're going to slowly come out of here. You can start to press the hands into the ground. Maybe you need a moment upright. And then you can start to remove the props or come away from the wall. You can bend your knees, grab hold of the inside. Slowly bring the feet together again. Good. And maybe a few tiny flaps before we bring the soles of the feet down onto the ground. Good. We'll finish up with one more heart opener, which is also a mild inversion. So you can use the bolster or any other prop that you're using as a bolster. You can also fold a bunch of blankets. And we're going to place the bolster so that my heart is just, or the shoulder blades are just at the edge of the bolster. My head is falling down. And my feet are going to be roughly in the same height as the pelvis. So I'm putting some blocks in front so my heels can rest there. So there is a lot of talk about retroflux of the blood in yoga, that you're not supposed to do inversions, etc. Scientifically, it's not a thing. The blood will not go back through the cervix into the womb. However, if you feel energetically, it's just not the right thing when the body is trying to apana, so move things down and out to invert the pelvis. You can still enjoy sort of inversions through the upper back or the upper body without moving the pelvis or tilting the pelvis so much. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to come onto the bolster. It might take you a moment to find the right position. And then I'm going to lie down. It was a bit high. So this is going to feel different for everyone. Now my heart feels open. My shoulders are open. If you feel like your head is too far down, have a pretty bendy upper back, you can also place a blanket underneath the head. And then I'm going to kick my legs out. And my blocks happen to be there. Great. If your lower back feels a bit tender, you can take a moment grounding the feet and really think about sending again the tailbone away from you like we did when we were going into a reclined half hero pose. And then keep that sense again. The legs are not fully offline. They're not fully online. They're mild in between. And the arms can be like in a goalpost so that the shoulders can hang down. And now the pelvis is pretty even. The legs are not inverted, but the upper body, the pelvis is slightly higher than the heart, and the heart is slightly higher than the head. So I can enjoy the benefits of an inversion without feeling like energetically kind of countering this movement from the pelvis downward, which we've been working on in this little practice. And here in this position, the diaphragm can get a bit more relief. Enjoying an opening. Just moving sort of, the skin of my shoulder blades down, and that feels a bit more open. Can always turn the arms from inside to outside to support that movement. And it's hard to fully say no to inversions because they're so great to counter fatigue. It can, of course, be a real thing during menstruation. Using the exhales to let go. Okay. If you'd like to stay here longer and you're just actually enjoying sort of the lightness that's coming from inversions, go ahead. I'm going to slowly bend one knee at a time, place them onto the ground. Good. And then I'm going to roll over onto one side so I can get the bolster out from under. And then just lie flat onto the back. I'm just going to place the bolster onto the pelvis here. It's not a very heavy one, but just to give me a sense of grounding. And when you come out of an inversion, no matter how light, just taking a moment, flat, receiving. Good. And then we're going to take a short shavasana. Maybe you want to wear some layers. You can place maybe a little blanket underneath the head. Move the props out of the way. And without much ado, just taking a moment to be here. Maybe there's a sigh. We'll just stay here for a couple of minutes. Sometimes we think, it was already a restorative practice. Why do I need shavasana? We were basically just lying around. But we were giving the body quite a bit of stimulus through the different positions. And so just honoring, coming back to neutral. Because that's where the magic actually happens. The same with training. It's not in the training that the body adapts. It's in the recovery days after. And now actually feeling maybe the tingliness of the cells, body decompressing. And Apana also governed very much by the element of the earth because it's related to Mula Bandha, giving back to earth. Sometimes we think you don't want to give the dirty or unnecessary or toxic stuff that might be coming out of you, because that might make whatever it is that you're giving it to sort of unclean. But the earth can recycle anything. Even the stuff you think is not pretty is fertilizer for the earth, energetically, mentally, physically. The earth will take your body once you die with gratitude. And just like she will take your physical body, she also takes all of your waste, whatever it is that happened this menstrual cycle. Just give it back to her. If you want to stay here for a little while longer, just start to take a nap. You can do that. For this video, we're slowly coming out though. You can join me by maybe deepening the breath. Maybe some circles, a yawn, maybe a stretch. And then lazily, reluctantly bending the knees, rolling over onto one side. And then taking just one more moment as a child of the earth, just lying on the side. And then we'll slowly come up. And I'll bring my hands together in front of the heart in a gesture of gratitude towards you. And thank you for sharing this practice.